Well, the
So
fascinating thing is we've allowed ourselves to be the product for these companies.
so true. That's so true.
Like, it's really interesting. Like, we all kind of work for Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. In a sense, we do. And we keep lining his pockets.
There,
Yeah.
he would not have a company. But because we decide to be on his platform, and that is the most fascinating thing.
Right.
I think historians are going to look back on that period and like, there are a few people and few companies who managed to turn people into products.
Brilliant. Mark is brilliant. And, you know, I think that he knew a lot of this was coming, but at the same time, I don't think he necessarily understood the magnitude of what he built. He did it, and he did it right. The only thing that he may have not thought about, in fact, I don't think he did at all, is these content creators are the product. And I don't think that he really set up or built a strategy to compensate them or give them the things that maybe they deserved from the get-go. Just wasn't a part of the equation in his mind. And the ship has kind of set sail. I think they're always, Facebook and all these other platforms are looking for ways to compensate the creator or give them an exciting reason to want to be on their platform. But the most important pieces to the content creators, the influencers, the businesses, they're not getting. It's the data. The data is kingpin. That is the kingpin. And if you own the data, you own the world in many cases. And that's why Zuckerberg is where he's at and all these other brilliant minds. And so, but things
he has so much data. That's why he's such a huge competitor in AI.
That's right. That's right. It's crazy. It's the wild, wild west right now. But things are, you know, we really want Gigg to be at the forefront of creating a way for these businesses and influencers to take the power back, to benefit from what they rightfully deserve. We the one story that comes to mind, you know, we ran a global campaign with Dude Perfect, who's one of the, you know, the biggest.
Those are huge. Those guys are huge.
Yeah, they're huge. Great guys, all good family men. But think about this for a second. How many subscribers do they have? I want to say it's like 85 million. I could be mistaken. How many emails did YouTube give Dude Perfect from these subscribers?
0.
The answer is 0. Okay. I've sold tens of thousands of units or products on Amazon. How many emails has Amazon given me of my customers? 0.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. Those emails, those connections, those names, those are the most valuable assets to any content creator or business. That is where so many people are falling short. I just talked to my buddy, Jesse Merle. Jesse Merle is another YouTuber. He's exploding, you know? He made great money last month. And what's interesting about him is that he shared with me on this, and I got to imagine he's going to be okay with this, but a lot of the stuff that he shares is politically charged. So a lot of times what he's sharing on social media gets throttled or slowed down because it may not necessarily align with some of the things that YouTube does. But
it's actually just that alone. Again, historians 50 years from now,
right,
are going to look back at that and like, how did they allow that to be true?
That's right. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. Now I get violence. I get sex, nudity, some of the things that really shouldn't be out there, especially if there's young people on the platform. But to throttle people's ways of thinking, opinions, their politics, their faith, no. We live in the United States of America where the freedom to speak, freedom of speech, it's being throttled. And anyone that is pretending for a second like that's not the case is not opening their eyes.
No, it's I mean, we saw it plain as day when Elon took over Twitter, now X.
Yeah, you're seeing things
just proved it.
You're seeing things you never saw for years. And so good on Elon. Good on Elon. And I think that should be the case with all these platforms, but I highly doubt some of them will make those adjustments. But that's why it is so crucial to build a destination that you control. If you have followers, if you have reach, why not own it?
Yeah.
Why not own it and create a place or destination where people can go to enjoy the content that you're building, creating, and so on?
Because right now, if you're like a really good YouTuber, you're making money through ads.
Yeah, through ads. Yep.
Sponsorships, like, you know, people put Coke needs to pay us for that, right? Like,
yeah, pay him Coke.
Like that type of thing. And if you get really big, like somebody like Dude Perfect, you can then turn into events. And now
which they've done.
And now you are owning
That's right.
data. Events, you can own the data.
That's right.
Which is really cool.
That's right.
And so all of a sudden you can build a community out of that. But how many people can do that?
Not a whole lot.
That's so crazy.
But if they are going to try
a YouTube channel to like, oh, we're going to sell at the Delta Center.
Right.
Didn't they sell at the Delta Center?
Oh yeah. They've sold out numerous, venues during their tour. And that's what we did is we helped them, create or drive more awareness around that event, which was a lot of fun. And the beauty of what it is we did with them is we give them the data. So if an influencer or business uses our software or any of the features inside of our community or what we do, we serve back that very valuable data. That's the name of the game.
So are you building a platform?
We are. And I've spent a decade working to perfect this. And, it's been, I've known you for a while, Clint, and, a lot of the stuff that we've been doing over the years, we've had to learn a lot. I mean, like you mentioned at the beginning, if you don't quit, you keep fighting, it's naturally comes together. But I'll tell you what, man, if someone had told me, hey, Scott, just so you know, it's going to be a decade before you actually start figuring things out, I don't know if I would have done it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe I would have, because I'm still here, still going, but it's really starting to happen now. And it's been a lot of fun. But the features that we spent a lot of people know us for the competition platform.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people know us for, social media, social boards, aggregating content to display on the site. And a number of other features, we've brought it all into one destination to help these businesses, brands, and so on create a community that they control, that they benefit from, that they can really, really see wealth from.
That does seem to be where this is going.
It has to. It has to. So if it's not us that does it, you do it, Clint, with CEO.com. I mean, one of us has to do it.
No, I'm not good. Like, I just want to use it. I like the community piece. I don't really, the platform is interesting. So are you going to go after like Circle, Highbright?
Yep.
Those types of people.
Yes.
There's another one in Utah. I can't remember which is actually really good. I can't remember what it is.
There's a couple of them. But,
Circle might be in the lead.
Yeah, definitely. And they get it. And so a lot of the stuff that they're doing, very forward thinking, and they are attacking what we're talking about right now. And so, that's where we're going, and may align with them, with some of these other, there's a bunch of different things that we can do. We're excited. We're so excited right now. And, we really just started implementing this and focusing on this community driven effort, just in the past 6 months. So it's getting fun.
Have you launched the platform yet, or are you making some tweaks?
We've soft launched a couple of them, a couple of these different, communities. We're really focused on professional sports right now, which I'm really, really excited about.
There's no greater communities than around sports.
That
is the very definition of community.
That's right. It's any group of people where there's a lot of people that are passionate about something, that can speak to it eloquently, that have thoughts, opinions, that want to talk to other like-minded people. That's where it's at. So sports is a good fit. Entertainment. I mean, the list goes on, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a nerd for comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be in a community with a bunch of nerds talking about Superman, Spider-Man. Isn't that crazy? My wife's embarrassed I said that. I guarantee it. Legos. I just learned about Legos. How about a Lego community? Like, I love seeing people's builds, and there's passion out there, and it's just taking hold of it and building a destination where other people can go and focus. So, and enjoy time with other like-minded individuals.
The hard piece about this, and you and I have talked about this a lot, the hard piece about this is actually getting that community off the ground, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can have all the tools, all of the, ways that the community can interact, but I bet there's a million subreddits for Legos or sports and, like Discords and like all these things that are kind of real, but they're not real. It's not a full community, right? You're kind of just going in and out of it. Right. So getting all of them out of there into what you're doing, I think that's the challenge.
It is going to be a challenge, but really, I
don't mean like into your platform. I mean anybody who's building a community, getting them into a platform that they own.
Definitely. Yeah. And so that challenge is where we can help fill that gap. I mean, So a lot of the tools, the features that we've spent a decade building, we have the answer for that. So if you're wanting to build a community and start attracting the attention of those that would be a good fit to be inside of your community, we have the tools to help you go get them. And so that's why this is so exciting for us, because we got the tools. We got the tools to go and find those people. But you're right. That is probably the number one most challenging element of all this in building that community is where do you start? How do you get them there? Yeah. But if you build it, they will come. I just made that up.
Yeah, that's never been said before.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
What about so how do you utilize social media to get people onto your own platform?
You know, a lot of times what we have found to be the most successful way to get eyes to a place is influencers. And when I talk about influencers is a word that's used too much, but it's just the case. And so when you can find or align with someone that reaches that target audience that you desperately want or need, you align with them and give them an incentive or reason to share something or call upon their following to get to your destination. So influencers tend to be a really, really good place. Giveaways are always a very powerful option. Survey related strategies where you ask people to come and participate, share insight, thoughts, or feedback. Those tend to be the best places to do it. And also being selective about what platform you're on to drive eyes back to the site, because every one of those platforms, the social platforms, and there are millions of them, of course, they're the big dogs. They all have a different reason with a different audience. And so you want to be selective about which social platform you're using to drive eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. It used to be like, you better be on all of them. Like,
right.
I don't know if you should be on all of them.
Well, yes and no. It depends on what your goals are.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, if you don't really give a crap about, the younger audience, you may not necessarily want to mess around with TikTok. That's a place where a lot of the young people live. Snapchat even. I wonder how long Snapchat's going to be around.
Snapchat's still a thing? I had no idea.
Yeah, it still is a thing. That's where a lot of trouble happens. Cautious parents, be cautious. Watch carefully what your kids are up to on that thing. It's a dangerous place. It's a very, very dangerous place.
They're all dangerous, man.
They all are. I would say that's the most dangerous. Some people would agree with me, disagree with me.
I think you're right.
It's hard. It's hard as a parent to monitor how that platform works, and the kids know it. I mean, I'm so grateful that when you and I were kids, we didn't have that stupid app. But they did some things right. But there's a lot of trash that happens on that site or on that platform.
So how did you get started? Tell us about the journey. Like what was day one of Gigg? What was it? What was the idea?
That's a great question. So I was ready to venture off on my own. I always knew I was an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship. I love starting businesses. I've been really fortunate to be involved with a company called Pinnacle Security. Oh, yeah. Kind of like Vivint. Vivint and Pinnacle were vicious competitors for a lot of years. But have been fortunate to make some great money and learn a lot. I've always been in sales, but I was ready to start something. And believe it or not, Gigg was built for the music industry. I remember. I have a huge passion for music. I always have. Music is my drug. It's my happy place. I go to it when I need something. Whether it's happiness. I mean, on the way over, I dropped my son off at the MTC yesterday. I was telling you, and I've been just so sad. I'm so proud.
Are you playing all sad songs and just crying in your car everywhere you go?
Believe it or not, man, this is slightly embarrassing. But I'm gonna admit it. There's a song on the Hercules Disney album. So when a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a missionary, he's not allowed to really listen to any of the, pop music, metal, rock. He can listen to like church songs about Christ or Disney songs. And so ever since Chase was a kid, he loves this song on the Hercules soundtrack. Gosh darn, what's the name of it?
Go the Distance?
Go the Distance. Yeah. Thank you. Go the Distance. And I turned it on just to think of my son because it's his favorite Disney song. And it's such a powerfully written song with great lyrics. And so, so music is my drug. And I was always fascinated by the music scene, fascinated how artists made money. And I started noticing that there was a huge gap in money making for artists, especially those artists that weren't, you know, some of the top 100 artists on the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're struggling to make money. I remember reading an article that was put out about Lady Gaga, and I think she had a couple billion plays on Spotify and literally got paid like five grand, something like that. And don't quote me on that, but I just remember being like, that's all she got paid. It was so little. And I'm like, what if we could create ways to help artists be more effective in getting the word out about an upcoming album, an upcoming tour, single on the radio, and help them really align with their fans and create ways for them to make revenue. Mm-hmm. And that's what we built. And it went incredibly well. And we were working with some of the biggest artists on the planet and helping them really get the word out about events. I remember we were increasing ticket sales 25% if Gigg was promoting or, you know,
wow,
driving a venue with an artist, you know, trying to sell tickets. So that kind of became what we were doing. And we had built features to help them do that and to call upon their greatest fans. So we were helping mainstream artists call upon their fans, their greatest marketing team, mm-hmm. to go tell the world about whatever they were trying to drive or push. And believe it or not, my next door neighbor and at the time and good friend, Ryan Smith, who's the CEO and founder of Qualtrics, was like, dude, you should try sharing this or selling this to businesses, maybe in higher ed where he had his success. Mm-hmm. And you know, he was really impressed by some of the stuff that we were up to. And I thought he was an idiot for suggesting that we do anything outside of music. No, we're music only, bro. That this is the cool gig business, right? Turns out he was right. And we started exploring different ways to you know, shift the gig platform that was very music focused to helping other businesses. And so my brother-in-law, who was down working in the administration at Dixie State, now Utah Tech, mm-hmm. they gave it a whirl and it exploded.
Really?
And before we knew it, we had our product in over 250 universities using Gigg. Then we started selling to other businesses. And another thing that was really interesting, we started using the product. I started using the product for different companies that I was starting. And we started realizing that this actually works for building a business and a brand. Mm-hmm. You can do a startup with this, you know, and some of those, I mean, Bam Bam's Barbecue, my cousin and I.
Great barbecue joint.
Thank you. It is. I think it's the best barbecue in the world. It's easy for me to say, but here's the point. It's easy for me to say, but if I can get customers to go and tell the world how great, I can get the Clint Betts and, you know, other people talking about how great that barbecue is, that's the way you win. And so a lot of the things that we were doing early on with these different businesses and companies that we were selling to, we were helping them get the people to do the storytelling. That's the name of the game, man. What are you doing to give your customers a reason to talk about you online? That is it. If you can do that, your marketing strategy is set. And so, and we provide tools to help do that. And so, and then here we are today. The thing that became really fascinating to me as I studied social media, and I'm on social media every day. I see it all. I started recognizing the opportunities for content creators to capitalize on what they're building inside of these platforms for the Zuckerbergs, the Dorseys, all these other brilliant minds who set up great platforms. But our focus is decentralizing content and businesses taking hold of, and brands and influencers taking hold of what they rightfully deserve, which is the good stuff.
That is where I think things are going.
Has to.
I can't see how it goes anywhere else. And writers figured this out, maybe for bloggers, whatever you'd call them. Like, man, we're just publishing all this stuff and we don't get anything. And then Substack or like Beehive comes along. Yeah. And like, you just own it. This is all yours.
It's yours. It's yours. Take hold of it.
Specifically for that.
Take hold of it and trust it.
Cool.
Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself. One of the first artists to do that was Macklemore. Macklemore gave the middle finger to all the record labels. He said, hey, you're not going to give me what I want. This is my music. I know that I got some good stuff here. If you're not going to let me do things the way that I want to do, I'm out. And he was strong enough, had the courage to step away from what all artists across the globe thought was the only way, and built it on his own with a bunch of bulldogs that busted their butts to go and share the Macklemore gospel, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Here's this incredible music. Check it out. And guess what? The stations picked it up regardless.
Yeah.
That dude is a stud. Macklemore, good on you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more that are about to do the same. There's a lot more that are about to do the same. And we want to be top of mind when people are ready to do that. We want them to come to us. And we want to serve them the tools to help them build their own community, own the data, make that money, and we will help them make that money. That's the other thing. We will find sponsors. We will align with companies that they would love to align with.
And so I imagine like the perfect client for you is somebody who has a pretty big following on one of these platforms, or all of them.
Right.
Right. And has a bunch of fans, but now they want to own their audience entirely. Like that's when they go to you.
That's right. When they're ready. And then there is a time and a place. I had a good friend who's really done a great job building his brand. I don't know if he's ready yet to move into the community driven efforts where he can create something that would excite folks to want to come and subscribe or spend a lot of time on his site. However, what we're doing is we're looking for other like-minded influencers that put great content out, just like him. We're working on this right. In fact, that was the last call. That's why I'm late today. We were talking about how he can bring some of these folks together that speak to the same topics he's discussing on a regular basis, speak eloquently and knowledgeably about whatever it is they're talking about, that have great followings, and bringing them together to all work together to build this community around what they all love and are passionate about, and then split the revenue. And then eventually, they can break off to do their own thing when they're ready. But that at least kickstarts it. So
yeah. How are sports teams using Gigg?
Great question. It's what we have found with, the groups. You're going to see about 5 different professional sports teams launch in the next 6 weeks. And what's interesting is we've spent time with all these different sports organizations. They all kind of are looking for the same thing. And it seems to be 5 things, and I'm going to do my best to go through each of those. One is just community. They want to own that community. Yeah, they got group pages on Facebook or, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. But they don't own it. They don't own it.
No, if you own an NBA team, you don't own your domain.
No,
the NBA owns that.
That's correct. And so, they want a community. They also want to take hold of their brand. They want to take hold of the conversations, and they want to be a part of those conversations. A lot of them struggle with content, what content to be putting out there, how frequently, how often, what kind of content that resonates. A lot of them also struggle with loyalty programs. They want better ways to drive more loyalty. A lot of these organizations really struggle with capitalizing on that youth program. I mean, the youth for sports organizations is crucial, because if you can get young minds excited about your team, they likely will go nowhere the rest of their life. They will be deeply rooted into that team.
Junior Jazz is the best example.
That's right. Junior Jazz, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Junior Jazz is so cool.
Right? I mean, so it's things like that. And the biggest thing above all, and we've talked about it, it's the data. It's the data. You need the freaking data. You deserve to have the data. So those are the things that we're helping these organizations focus on. And I'll tell you, one of our favorite test cases that has really kind of set the stage for all this is Brandon Fugel, a dear friend and local here, Skinwalker Ranch.
Best guy.
Brandon Fugel is one of the most incredible human beings that I've ever met. And he doesn't get the credit that he deserves.
I agree with that.
In certain places. And I mean, being as successful as he is, you're always going to have haters. Very few haters of Brandon Fugel that I've met up to this point.
How could you hate Brandon?
Exactly. He really is. And he has charity in his heart. He's always looking for ways to help, and he's always been an incredible support to me. So, but Brandon came in around the Skinwalker Ranch thing. And, Brandon and I have had multiple conversations around branding, marketing, and so on. And Brandon took the plunge and in many cases was the guinea pig for some of the things that we were doing at Gigg. And we really took hold of that Skinwalker Ranch community. And that's a special community, man. Like these folks, these diehard paranormal freaks. They're not freaks, but they're paranormal diehards and UFOs. I'm one of these guys, Bigfoot, whatever, ghosts. There's a lot of people that believe in that stuff across the globe. And Brandon wants them all. He wants them all. And I'm like, let's go get them all. Let's build it. Let's build this community. And it's exploding. And it is so much fun to watch this community just grow with all these diehard, paranormal, loving, amazing people. And the subscription base has just skyrocketed. And people want to pay to be in a place where they're around other people, so there's subscription models, paywalls, sponsors that would die to be a part of a community like that, right? And so also opportunities for branded products and so on. And so that's where we're going with this. Let's build a Skinwalker community for every passion-driven topic, way of thinking, whatever. That's the name of the game. So who's going to take hold of it? Who's going to do it?
Yeah.
And Brandon's doing it with that world.
Yeah. He's in that show is the success of that show is everything that guy touches turns to gold.
Right.
He's incredible.
He deserves it all.
Yeah, he absolutely does.
He does.
It does seem like we're going towards more curated communities.
Right.
It's not just like you're on a platform and you can kind of see everybody and you're like, what? Like that one post isn't relevant to the next, but like curated communities who all have like-minded interests.
That's right. That's where it's got to go. And that's actually one thing that I really respect about what you're doing, dude, is that CEOs, like how often do you get to talk to CEOs or executives of companies outside of maybe going to like conventions, conferences, or, a colleague introduces you to someone. You're working on something very special, a place where a group of executives can come to learn from one another. And there will be very focused and curated content there. And that's content I want to see. I want to learn from people. What's interesting is, when you're in a position as a CEO, a lot of times your greatest lessons or the things you learn come from others that have come before you that have filled in that role or that are currently in the trenches as a CEO for their company and other executives. And that stuff is valuable, man. That like
having mentors, having people who you can be in the foxhole with, having people who've experienced the same stuff as you. And as you know, and this is probably true for every profession, but like being a CEO is super lonely.
Oh, it's the
you
lonely.
Can't relate to a lot of people, right? In terms of like the responsibilities that you have versus, something else. And so to be able to commiserate almost.
Yeah, man.
With fellow CEOs.
Amen. It is
and
the loneliest
that's true
role.
of everywhere. Like, it's probably the same with musicians. Like how cool would it be if like the top musicians were getting together and like commiserating and they'd learn from each other and things like that. For sure.
I had some of the loneliest days of my life. Literally loneliest days of my life have been, after choosing to be CEO of a nosebleed company that's trying to figure things out. And
well, nobody cares what you're doing.
No one does.
That's like
and no one's going to tell you you're doing good. No one's going to pat you on the back. Maybe your wife, but even then, she's kind of like,
she doesn't care.
She doesn't care. She
just make sure like we're going to be okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Support, like certainly supports.
Yeah,
cares
of course.
But the idea, no, like nobody cares about that.
And anytime
it takes a long time for somebody to care about.
Yeah, for sure. And some can probably understand where I'm coming from when I say it's not easy to go talk to your wife about the problems you're having at work.
Yeah,
it only seems to stress them out. So really, you have no one to talk to. But do you? Because if there's a destination where you can throw up, onto a community chat board, guys, I'm struggling with this. I can't figure out whether or not I need to let this guy go. Where do I find another good fit to replace that individual? Or I'm trying to decide whether or not I should take on investment dollars. Can someone tell me whether they're not? I mean, these are questions that you can read books. Yeah. But it's just not as, there's not that connection where they're ready to answer or respond to questions because they want to and they they feel like they can and do a good job of it.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why Silicon Slopes was so successful is that we had like a group of like 6 or 7 CEOs who would get together regularly. I mean, you got Ryan in there, you got Josh in there, you got Sconnard in there, like all of those, Todd, those folks, just being around each other. Like I didn't even realize that at the time, actually, when we were putting Silicon Slopes together.
Oh yeah.
That like how meaningful that was. I was just like, oh, all right, we got the top CEOs. Let's go.
That's right.
I didn't realize like them being in a room together would help them.
That's right. And every name you just gave, I can literally tell you something I learned from every one of them, where they actually took time to spend some time with me and give me feedback on some of the different things that I was doing right. Even more importantly, the things I was doing wrong, where they feel like I could, improve because they've had experience. And I'm just lucky because they just happen to be here in my neck of the woods and I've known them for a very long time. But there's a lot of other incredible CEOs or business executives across the globe that may not have or be fortunate enough to align with people that you just mentioned. So there's got to be a place. There has to be a place. So who's going to build it, right? Who's going to be first there? And there you are,
Well, how important is Utah to the Gigg story and to you personally?
It's very important. This is a special place, man. Some of the hardest working, most creative minds on planet Earth. And a lot of big corporations don't understand that. It's incredible to see how many of them are coming and setting sail here in this state. And they're, setting up shop. And it's because they know the kind of people, the caliber of people here in this area. I don't think I could have done it without some of these folks that are born and raised here in the state of Utah. I mean, I wasn't born and raised here, but I love it here. My family loves it here. But like I said, some of the smartest brains on this planet live here.
It's a very unique community too, that's willing to give time and willing to mentor and willing to get in a room with literal competitors.
That's right. Never shy away from competitors.
And help them out.
That's right.
It's pretty wild.
That's right.
It's kind of crazy.
It is. It's crazy, but what an amazing place to be. What an amazing place to be. And I would say that anyone looking, to build their career, looking to start something, this is where you should be, man. I actually don't want to say that anymore because the roads are getting so flippin' crowded.
Yeah.
But more the merrier. Yeah, the secret's out.
Yeah.
That's right.
We maybe shouldn't have said it so much in 2016, 2017, but secret's out now.
Yeah. Let's bleep this part out. Garrett, it's Garrett, right? Or maybe not. Yeah, Garrett, can you please handle that?
Scott, always great to talk to you, man. Always great to hear what you're up to. Tell me, what does Gigg look like in 5 years? How do you think about that?
I think in 5 years from now, I see tens of thousands of communities that have been built based on passionate individuals that really, really want to build a place that's not controlled by a group. It just happens because the people there are making it happen. I mean, when it all comes down to it, a community will be driven by the people that are there that love and are passionate about whatever's being discussed. And so I hope that we, in some cases, become a household name and we're the place that people know to go when they're looking to build their brand, take control of their brand, and benefit from their hard work.
You know who's pretty good at this? And I just realized is churches. Religions are good at this.
They're great.
And they're like the original, we're just going to own everything. Forget. We're going to bypass traditional, maybe we'll play, maybe we won't. But they are really good at
Hey.
Small churches, big churches,
that's right.
Catholic church. They're all really good at owning their audience.
That's right. Isn't passion and hobby, it could be religion to some people, right? Yeah. And God's a smart guy, so that might be the reason right there, right?
Scott, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Clint. Thanks for having me, man.